What's up guys, name is Ray and welcome to another Genshin Impact video. As you can see, I already did pull my Ganyu, and in today's video we want to do a comparison between Ganyu and Amber because a lot of people said that Ganyu is just a cryo Amber, and in today's video we want to make it clear, we want to clarify the situation. So for today's video I want to start with a very theoretical part, show off like the stats that we want to use. So I did put Ganyu and Amber on the same level. They are both level 20 ascended to level 40. They both have a sharpshooter's oath. None of them have artifacts. Constellation wise, Ganyu is constellation 0. All the talents are just level 1. So now if we look at Amber, Amber has quite the same conditions, level 20, ascended to level 40. The sharpshooters are no artifacts, but Amber is a constellation 1, but it doesn't make a big difference. All her talents are also level 1. Now let's get into the comparison between those stats. Now Ganyu has like 2632 HP, 129 attack, 169 defense. Okay, now if we want to compare this with Amber, Amber just has 2630, so it is like 2 HP less, like 28 attack less, so she only has 101 attack, and defense is very similar. So the only thing that really does change is the attack stat for Amber in comparison to Ganyu. Now the next thing is that I want to just go over the constellation one. I don't want to compare the constellations because I don't think that this matters. So this is important. Fires 2 arrows per aimed shot. The second arrow deals 20% of the first arrow's damage. So the second one only deals 20% damage of your main arrow, and I am able to do 2 arrows. It doesn't increase the damage by a lot, and it doesn't really change anything. Now we want to compare the talents. I think this is the most important thing because they can be very similar. Now let's look at like the multipliers at level 1. We have a 36 multiplier on the first hit for Amber. Now let's go back into Ganyu. She has a 31% multiplier, so a bit lower on her auto attacks, but of course Ganyu has higher base attacks. The big thing on Ganyu is this one. She has Frost Flake arrow damage, which is 128%, and the Frost Flake arrow balloon damage, which is 280%. Yeah, this one is very important because this is the thing that does change. Her aim charge level is 124%. Amber doesn't have this additional effect. If we go back into the talents for Amber, Amber only has the normal aim shot with 33.9%. The fully charged aim shot is 124%, so very similar. But she doesn't have like that Frost Flake arrow in addition to that. So this is like the first thing that does that Ganyu is what they want to say. Yeah, this is like the first thing that differ from those two characters. Ganyu has like this additional ability with her Frost Flake arrow. Now next thing is we have the explosive puppet. This one is said to be the same skill like Ganyu, and yeah, it also has like inherited HP. It does taunt, it does AoE pyro damage, it has a cooldown of 15 seconds. The explosion damage is 123% on level 1. Ganyu has like the exact same thing. A lot of people are saying this, but I want to show you guys the difference between those skills very briefly. So inherited HP is 120%, skill damage 132, duration 6 seconds, the cooldown is 10 seconds on this. It does AoE cryo damage on charge, and basically it also taunts the enemies as soon as it blooms. It does more cryo damage. So let's do this a bit practical and show off the difference, not in combat but they're theoretical. So if you use the E from Ganyu, she does that backdash. This bloom will stay 6 seconds if it's not attacked and destroyed, and then you have like a 4-second off cooldown. If you want to use a hold E, she doesn't have that. Ganyu doesn't have a hold E. You only can press the E ability. She will do the backdash, so she doesn't have an alternative to her E. You will always only do this. Another difference is that she does do cryo damage on cast, so as soon as you cast the ability, it does damage. As soon as it blooms, it does more damage. Now let's go to Amber. Amber just throws that bunny. the bunny holds off for 8 seconds. So they don't tell you this in her skill attributes. They only tell you that she has a cooldown of 15 seconds. But I did stop the timer for this multiple times and ending up like about 8 seconds. Maybe it's like 8.2, 8.3 seconds, but I'm pretty sure it's about 8 seconds. So you will have a off cooldown timer of 7 seconds while using the explosive puppet. It does do the same. It would attract enemies, and if it explodes, it does deal fire damage. Now the big difference on this is, or not the big difference, there are like two main difference on this. We have a hold version, so the longer you hold, the wider you can throw the bunny. So you have a bit more control of the length where you want to throw the bunny, which Ganyu doesn't have because you only can throw it in and do the backdash. But the second difference is that on cast, so as soon as you throw the bunny into the enemies, it doesn't do damage on cast. So it only does do damage when it explodes. I want to show you this real quick in combat before we move on and compare the ultimates between those two characters. Okay, because both of my characters are only level 20, I tried to only pick up one enemy because they will get one-shotted on the map because I'm already world level 8. So let's do Amber first. So you can see there is no cast damage. The Hilichurl is taunted, so he will attack this one, and as soon as it dies, it does explode damage. The multiplier between those are very similar. Even on higher levels, they scale like right the same amount. So let's go to Ganyu. On cast, he did so that 60 damage. Of course, with higher levels, it will do way more. Of course, he just did his attack, so he wasn't taunted. So we want to do this again. On cast, 60 damage, very consistent damage. He is taunted, he will attack, and it does explode. It does do cryo damage on the proc. Okay, now let's compare the aimed shot against this Ruin Guard, so we won't see any high damage numbers. I want to especially focus on the normal aimed shot on the weak point, not on the level 2 charge of Ganyu. So this was 116 damage. Amber, 88 and 8, so the second one is because of her Constellation 1, so just focus on the bigger number. So we definitely can see that there is a huge difference in their damage. It's 44 if I don't hit the weak point. For Amber, it is very important to hit the weak point because her kit is based around her aimed shot that does hit the weak point. That's the reason why a lot of people thought that Ganyu is a CRYO Amber. Okay, of course I got one-shotted. Now let's do this for Ganyu again. I think we saw enough from Amber. Let's try to hit with the double arrow. So you can see that the bloom damage does way more damage than the aimed shot. So this is actually not really important to hit the weak point. So you can see I can hit like there, and it still does activate my Frost Flake arrow. Okay, now let me charge not on the weak point like over there. It doesn't really matter where I do cast the Frost Flake arrow, and the charge level is as long as a normal aimed charge shot from Amber. Okay, this was melt damage, about 44, and let's say 88 on a crit. It is a guaranteed crit if I do hit the weak point, as you can see. So 44 normal, and on weak point it was 88. This was melt, so that doesn't count. 58. 58. So this is like 10, so she does deal more damage. And if I would level her up, of course this does scale. So Ganyu will deal with her normal aim shot, she will do much more damage than Amber. But Ganyu does have the ability to have the Frost Flake, so she will deal an additional damage no matter what. It doesn't matter if I do hit the weak point or not, she will do more damage than Amber. Okay, so let's fight against the exact same Ruin Guard. So if you guys wonder, I just put in Kea and Bennett as batteries so I can charge up the ultimates from Ganyu and Amber, but I won't use them in this video. So what I want to do now is we want to compare ultimates. You can see like the radius, the damage. Take a look at Amber's ultimate. So her ultimate is AoE pyro damage in the rain, very similar to this from Ganyu. Her fiery rain damage per wave is dealing 28.1 damage and a total fury rain damage of 505%. So her multiplier is quite high, but the duration is just 2 seconds. It won't go up as soon as you level it. The cooldown is 12 seconds, so basically 10 seconds. If we subtracted from the duration, so we will have 10 seconds off timer. It only costs 40 energy, has a very high multiplier, and it won't do some of those waves. So her ultimate overall does a lot of damage. We shouldn't underestimate that. I want to use Kea just to proc the melt effect to neutralize the enemy, and then we want to use Ganyu's ultimate. You can see like the radius from Ganyu's ult, which is super big, and the enemy consistently gets damage. Okay, let's do the last round for the test where we want to compare the ultimate from Ganyu. I think I didn't show off the talent from Ganyu, so we want to talk about this real quick. The Celestial Shower, it does cryo damage in a rain, you just saw it. The ice shots have a multiplier of 70%. This does scale, so it will go off like 100%. But the big thing for Ganyu that does make her so good in comparison to Amber on her ultimate is the duration is 15 seconds and her cooldown is also 50 seconds, and her energy cost is 60. 60 is like okay. Amber just has 40 energy cost, but she has a 10-second cooldown. So basically, you have to wait 10 seconds no matter what. But Ganyu, you just have consistently ice shot running, and when her duration is over, you just can cast it again if you have a battery in your team. And from what I've seen is her E ability does also have a low cooldown, so actually only 4 seconds. And her Frostflake arrow also does regenerate energy, so she does really need energy recharge to get all this off back. So I think her ultimate is pretty insane. So let's do this. We want to put the ultimate in, combine this with her E ability. Let's say Kea is in my main team. I want to use him as a battery for Ganyu. Let's do charged attacks. So I want to create like a realistic scenario here over there. And yeah, usually if I would have like enough energy recharge in that combination, my ultimate would be back. Now let's neutralize this with Bennett. We want to proc the melt damage so we can do fair damage for Amber. 1, 2, 3. So it was like 3 rain waves for Amber. And that's like her ultimate. Now we have to battery it back because she doesn't have energy recharge. Of course, this would be way different if I would have those two characters built out. But for now, I don't have resources to build out Amber. And if I level up Ganyu, it wouldn't be a fair comparison anymore. Alright, so let's summarize the difference between those two characters real quick for you. Actually, their skills work very similar. So they both have a taunt on her E, and they both have like a rainy AoE ultimate that works the same way. But what differs Ganyu from Amber is that Ganyu, even if her main feature is her aimed shot, she doesn't need to hit the weak points, and this feature is very, very huge. So you can always apply a Frostflake arrow even if you do not hit the enemy. And for Amber, you only can utilize her full potential if you hit the weak point, which for Ganyu doesn't matter. Then, next difference, her E ability does cast on damage. Does damage on cast, sorry for that. And Amber's one doesn't do that. Also, Amber's cooldown on her E ability is much longer. It is 5 seconds longer, and also the duration is 2 seconds longer, which is not that good. For Ganyu, it is just 6 seconds after it explodes or it is destroyed. The taunt works the same way, I have to admit that. But other than that, the backdash can help during a fight, so you can reposition yourself, which is a very underestimated thing, especially in the Spiral Abyss. I think this feature does matter. And A damage on cast, I think, is very important because it does scale off this damage. Yeah, the skill damage is 132% on cast, and if it explodes, I think it will do exactly the same multiplier again, if I do not miss out on anything, if I'm not wrong. It is a bit higher than the one from Amber, but not too much. That's something that I have to admit, so they are around the same multiplier. And yeah, about the ultimate, we do not really have to talk about. The radius of Ganyu is much higher. You can use her ultimate off cooldown. You can literally spam her ultimate. It does consistently apply cryo, so you can combine it with your melt comps, with your freeze comps, with super conduct comps, whatever you want. So she really helps out being a supporter just by using this feature. While Amber just has a burst, of course her multiplier for her ultimate is very high, but she only can put it out once in one wave, and that's it. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this little comparison, and I hope you guys are not worried that I didn't level up the characters too much, because of course I don't want to put in a lot of resources in my Amber, since I have to put them into Ganyu to put out more content over the next course of the days. So, the last thing that I want to tell you guys is Ganyu is definitely not Cryo Amber. Ganyu is a character that stands out for herself, and she is very, very good, even at Constellation 1. Now, if you want to see like more insights into Ganyu, then definitely like, comment, and subscribe. It would help me out a lot, and I'll see you guys next time. If you guys want to see more Genshin Impact content, videos should pop up on the screen right now. Make sure to check them out, and I thank you for your support.